Okay, ladies and gentlemen of algebra, this is Unit 8, Note 6, talking about the Pythagorean theorem. So you need to be able to do is apply the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so the Cyclone roller coaster in New York's Coney Island is one of the most copied roller coasters in the world. Since it was built in 1927, 7 copies of the roller coaster have been built. The first drop is 85 feet tall, and the length from the bottom of the roller coaster to the bottom of the first hill is 147 feet. Use Pythagorean theorem to estimate the length of the first hill. So, the first drop is 85 feet, and it's 147 feet from the bottom to the bottom of the first hill. So estimate how big that is. Well, according to Pythagorean theorem, all I've got to do is say take 85 squared plus 147 squared, and that will equal that third side squared. So 85 squared is going to be 7225. 147 squared is going to be 21609, and that's going to equal c squared. So 21609 plus 7225 is going to give me 28,834. But now, that's not my answer. I need to take the square root of both of those. So if I take the square root of that, I'm going to get 169.806. So this is going to be approximately 170 feet to the first drop-off. So, Pythagorean theorem, you've seen it before, but one thing you might not have seen is a Pythagorean triple. And Pythagorean triple is basically 3 side lengths that are integers, that are whole numbers, that are going to satisfy the Pythagorean theorem. The simplest one would be 2, 3, and 4. Sorry, misspoke. It's not 2, 3, and 4. Wait, hold on, erase. Not 2, 3, 4. 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10. I think 7, 24, and 25 also work. Those are some of the more common ones. So, find the missing lengths. If necessary, write your answers as simplified radicals. Now, simplified radicals does not mean, it means exactly what it says. So, no decimals. So, A is 8, B is 15. So that's 8 squared plus 15 squared. So that's going to be 64 plus 225. So put that together, that's going to be 289, and that equals c squared. So I need to take the square root of that, and the square root of 289 is going to be 17. So that means c is going to be 17. Now for number 2, 18 and 24, that's 18 squared plus 24 squared equals c squared. So 18 squared is going to be 324. 24 squared is going to be 244. So if you add those two things together, you get 568. Now 568, I don't think, is a perfect square root. So you've got to actually break this apart and simplify it. So that means you've actually got to take square root of 568 and start playing around and seeing what you can divide it by. So start throwing around factors. So 568 divided by 9. Oops. That doesn't work, but I know 568 divided by 4 works. So I get 4 and 142, so square root both of those. So 142 can be divided by, not by much. So this would be 2 square root of 142. 142 you can split in like 2 and 71, but 71 can't really be divided by anything. So 2 square root of 42 is going to be my answer. So now looking down here, please notice, C is 25, A is 10. So this is going to look like 10 squared plus B squared equals 25 squared. So this is a B, sorry. So 100 plus B squared equals 25 squared, which should be 625. So if I subtract 100, b squared is going to equal to 525. Now that's not a perfect square root, so I've got to simplify that. So square root of that splits into 25 and 21, square root, square root. So b is going to equal 5 square root of 21. There's my answer, 5 square root of 21. Here for 11 and 21, so that's going to be a squared plus 11 squared equals 21 squared. So a squared plus 121 equals 21 squared, which is 441. So subtract 121. A squared equals 320. So square root, square root. Okay, so split apart 320, and you can play around with this a little bit. And when doing so, I figured out 64 and 5 is a perfect fit. So a is going to be equal to 8 square root of 5. So here, determine whether each three form a right triangle. So remember, the short two have got to be equal to the third one. So when I look at this, here's what I'm looking at. It's got to be 20, can't hardly read that, 20 squared plus 21 squared equals 29 squared. You'll always do short two to the third one. So 20 squared is 400, 21 squared is 441, 29 squared is 841, and check it. Yes, that works. Yes, those two are equal. So here, 8 squared plus 10 squared, does that check out with 12 squared? So check. So that's 64 plus 100. This is 144. So no, it doesn't work. 64 and 100 does not equal 144. So 9 squared plus 12 squared, and check it against 16 squared. 81 plus 144 and 256. So 81 plus 144, that equals 225. So that does not equal, so no. So here, 10 squared plus 24 squared and 26 squared. So that's going to be 100. 24 squared is going to be 576. And 26 squared is going to be 676. So yeah, that one works. But it's always short two equaling the third side. So what's the area of this thing? Well, to figure out the area of this, the first thing I need to do is figure out this height right here. So I need to use Pythagorean theorem, so I'm going to go 12 squared plus b squared equals 20 squared to figure out what b is. So that's 144 plus b squared equals 400. So subtract. B squared is going to be equal to 256. So the square root of that is going to be 16. So that means the height of this thing is 16. Now, area of a triangle means I take 1/2 base times height. That's how you figure out the area of a triangle. So that's going to be 1/2 times 12 times 16. So when I do that, I get an answer of 96 units squared. There's my area. So a square shopping center has a diagonal walkway from one corner to another. If the walkway is approximately 70 meters long, so what is approximate length to each side of the center? So you've got a square walkway from one corner to the other. If the walkway is about 70 meters long, how big is each side? So this entire thing is 70, but these are all the same. So it's like saying x squared plus x squared equals 70, or 2x squared equals 70. So, little division, I get x squared equals 35. So square root, square root. Now, because it says approximate, I can take a decimal answer. So that's going to be 5.92. So that is going to be what you're looking at. Hold on, let me back up here. So let me back up here. So this should be x squared plus x squared equals 70 squared. Ah, that makes way more sense. So 2x squared equals 70 squared. So 70 squared is going to be 4,900. So square root, or divide, then take the square root of that, and you're going to get x equaling 4950, approximately. So there's your answer. All right, so Pythagorean theorem, here's kind of the proof. If you build a square with 3 blocks, 4 blocks, 5 blocks, it makes a perfect right triangle. So here, the perimeter of square 1 is going to be 160. The perimeter of square 2 is 120. What's the perimeter of square 3? Remember what perimeter means. So for 1, you just take 160 divided by 4. That means each side is going to be 40. For 2, what's 120 divided by 4? That's going to be 30. So doing Pythagorean theorem, 30 squared plus 40 squared equals c squared. Well, you're going to get 900 and 1600 equals c squared, so that's 2500. And then when you square root, you're going to get 50. So this is 50. So the perimeter then is going to be 200. Okay, that's all I've got. Come talk to me with questions.